Hey everybody, how's it going? Mike here from the Focus Garage, and in today's episode we are going to be taking a little drive in my MK7 GTI, and I'm going to be explaining to you why I feel that this car is the best daily driver that I've ever had. Now, before you get too into the video, I want to let you know that I've owned a few cars over 20 now. I think we're at 22, 23 cars, some of those being more kind of sporty cars that aren't so much dailies, and then some of them being daily drivers. So, after I've had this GTI here for about almost 2 years, coming up on March, I've obviously been able to drive this car plenty to get a feel for what I like and what I don't like about it, and kind of understand that daily driver compromise, which has led me to believe that this car is my favorite and best daily driver that I've had. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it and kind of start explaining to why I feel the way that I do. First things first. This car is the perfect compromise with being sporty enough without compromising. So what I mean by that is that this car has pretty good driving dynamics. It handles pretty well. The steering is adjustable, through the different drive modes. So you can, weight it up to be pretty heavy, or you can kind of, dial it back to be very, very soft and floaty feeling. And the car's got good pep. Now, keep in mind, this car is what some people in the Volkswagen community would call a stage 2 car. So it's got some bolt-ons and a tune, but even in stock form, the car is pretty fun to drive and peppy to drive. Now, on the flip side of that, it's not overly harsh suspension like I had in my STs. I had a Fiesta ST as well as a Focus ST, and both of those cars had very, very harsh suspension, almost like a pogo stick. Whereas this car is crazy compliant. You can cruise down the highway with this car at 80 miles an hour all day long, and it's not going to beat you up. You can go over bumpy city streets with the car. It's not going to beat you up, and I really enjoy that about this car. So it's really fun to drive. And don't get me wrong, there are cars that are more fun to drive, but then you're compromising in other aspects as far as gas mileage, and that's another thing I'll touch on. This car gets incredible gas mileage. Again, no surprise, it's a turbocharged 4-cylinder car, but beating on the car, I get 25, 26 miles per gallon, and when I'm really trying on longer highway stuff to go for fuel mileage, I'm seeing anywhere from 30 to 37 miles per gallon with this car. So it is a very, very fuel efficient car to drive when you're not absolutely romping on it all the time, which is nice. Again, these are points for a daily driver. Another cool thing that this car has going for it is the hatchback aspect of it. Now, if you like to carry people around, a sedan may be better. These back seats aren't the most spacious, but when you fold them down, you have the hatch capacity, obviously all of that cargo space, and then all of the back seats as well to put whatever kind of cargo that you'd want inside this car. So kind of doubles as being a utilitarian type vehicle, to where if you want to haul a lot of stuff around with you, you can go ahead and do that. Or if you want to haul people around with you, you can go ahead and do that. Another area that I like about this car is the looks of it. Now, this car is not a super boy racery look car by any stretch of the imagination, but what it does have going for it is it kind of flies under the radar. So if you do drive kind of more aggressively or more sporty, it's not going to be throwing red flags to the police that, hey, look at me, pull me over. That, to the regular person, including a lot of, the police force, this car looks like a regular Volkswagen Golf, which I think is a very, very nice thing for it to kind of sneak under the radar there and, get you through, whatever you're going to. It doesn't scream, look at me, when you're driving around. So if that kind of criteria is important to you, then yeah, maybe this car isn't the best choice for you. Another thing that I love about it as well is when you get one of these optioned up the way I do here on my Autobahn trim package, you can get one of these cars with all of the modern tech that you'd be finding in a lot of luxury cars. So if you look at any GTI 2016 and newer, it's going to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capabilities in the infotainment system there, so that's really neat. On my Autobahn trim package here, I have things like adaptive cruise control. I've got blind spot monitoring. The car has the pre-collision, braking assistance, and this car can even park itself, which I've only used 2 times ever just for the sake of demonstrating it. I feel that if you have a car this small and you need assistance parking it, you probably shouldn't be driving. But this car will parallel and perpendicular park itself with the sensors that it has if you need to do so. So that's pretty neat as well, that the car offers all of that tech in what is I guess you'd say a compact economy hatchback. So gone are the days where you have to buy an Audi A8 to have adaptive cruise control and blind spot monitoring. You can get it right here in your Volkswagen GTI. Another cool thing that helps this car shine for daily driver duty is the fact that these Mark 7 GTI Volkswagens with the EA 888 engine are known to be super reliable. What I mean by that is these cars aren't plagued by very many issues, if any. As long as you keep up on regular maintenance like oil changes and DSG services, if you have the dual clutch transmission, these cars will treat you very well for a long time. The only thing to really watch for with these is that the water pumps are known to crack and leak coolant sometimes. So depending on what model you have, what year it is, things like that, that may be something to watch out for. There is the water pumps. But outside of that, you know, there's not really a whole lot. I've owned this car, like I said, just about 2 years now. I've been doing oil changes, and outside of that, I really haven't had any kind of issues with the vehicle whatsoever. So that's pretty cool too. I mean, you don't want to be buying a daily driver that's known to be finicky or unreliable or give you problems or anything like that. Another thing that I like about the look of the car is that you can kind of upgrade the car with OEM Plus type mods to make it look even more luxurious than it already is. For example, I've got the European Golf R LED taillights on it, and then from the factory, if you get a lighting package car, you're going to be having the HID headlights or the LED headlights on the later GTIs with the LED running lights. It's a pretty cool look for the car to have that upgraded lighting on something, again, that doesn't break the bank. And speaking of breaking a bank, that is another place where these cars show their value. New, fully optioned, they do get a little bit expensive, but if you can pick one of these up used, certified pre-owned, that's where the deals are at. So for example, this car is stickered for over $36,000, but 2.5 years used, I think I paid $21,000 for this. So that is a sweet spot. There's not many cars you can find new, if any at all, that are going to offer anything close to what this offers for $21,000, $22,000. So looking at these used CPO, you've got the warranty, so you don't got to worry about that as much. It'll probably only be a one-owner car. So you've kind of got that to dial in and get, you know, exactly where you need to be for what you're trying to get in the car here. Now, we're going to turn on a little back road here, and I'm just going to give you a quick little acceleration pull because this car, again, with the DSG, with the tune, it's an extremely fun car to drive, and I feel that it rips through the gears pretty quickly here. So give me a second here. We'll wait till we have a break in traffic, and we're going to go ahead and go for it. So to prevent spinning here, we're going to get out of first. It moves. It really moves. In the words of my Indian Challenger video, this car boogies. And again, it keeps it fun to drive. You don't want to be buying a daily that isn't fun to drive, that is boring, that putts around. I really feel that this car kind of hits that sweet spot of being fun to drive. It's practical. It's good on gas. Insurance is pretty affordable on these cars because they're a pretty common car and they're not commonly, you know, wrecked or abused or anything like that. So you've got that going for it. And then the other cool thing is too, they're not hard to find. If you are trying to buy one of these new or used, it's a very plentiful car that Volkswagen has made a ton of. So you can pick one of these up in the used market or the new market, you know, with the options you want, with the color you want, pretty much anywhere. I mean, it's easy to find these cars. Again, you can kind of go down the rabbit hole of what options you want and what options you don't want with lighting package cars and performance package cars. You know, you can find these very, very base, but then like I said, you're going to be missing out on some of the tech features, which is one of the reasons why I wanted this car. The technology kind of makes it appealing at that special price point. If you're buying a more base model one, it's going to have all the same driving dynamics, the car's going to have all the same power, but you are going to be missing out on kind of some of that technology that makes the car so appealing to me. Now again, I've had this car just about 2 years. Some other daily drivers that I've had have been, as I mentioned in the video, my Focus ST, my Fiesta ST, I've had an Audi S4. Those are some of the more recent notable ones worth mentioning that, you know, people may be interested in. But especially for what you pay for this car, you'd be hard pressed to find a better daily driver. I've taken this car on many road trips. I live in Illinois, and I've driven this car all the way down to Georgia. We've driven it up to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, and the car is a fantastic road trip car. A lot of people think that that has something to do with kind of the Autobahn heritage of, you know, Volkswagen being in Germany and making cars meant for, you know, crushing highway miles, and this is kind of where that car shines for me. It's a car that you can comfortably crush down highway miles, but if you want to go, you know, rip through some back roads and enjoy the car in a manner like that, it's absolutely great at that as well. The car really kind of has that dual personality to where you can throw it in and enjoy it, or just crush it down highway miles. One more area that I want to touch on with this car as well is the interior build quality. Now, if you're looking at, cheaper economy cars for a daily, you're going to be compromising. If you want to look at top-end luxury cars, you're going to be paying for it. Where I feel the sweet spot is for this car with interior build quality is that it has very soft touch materials. Everything fits together well. Everything is in a easy to touch, easy to use location. And it's kind of that perfect balance between modern cars interiors and interiors of the past. What I mean by that is in my Mark 7, which is, before the Mark 7.5, it still has buttons for the radio. You've got a volume knob. Your climate control has knobs, but you've still got a touch screen as well. Woohoo! You've got a color screen in the middle here for your multi-function display, which is neat, instead of just, a little LCD screen that's black and white. The paddle shifters from the factory have little indentations where they actually are backlit and they glow at night. The car's got auto leveling dynamic headlights which turn with the vehicle. All this little dumb stuff that you don't really notice or you don't really think that you'd miss until you're in a car that you don't have it, or until you're spending 2-3 times what I've paid for this car just to have those same features. In my mind, the Mark 7 GTI is a no-brainer for somebody that wants a car that's fun to drive, but at the same time is going to give you reliability, good gas mileage, practicality, and everything that's important to me in a daily driver. Now, go ahead and drop the comments down below and let me know if I'm wrong. Are there things that make this car an absolutely awful daily driver? Is there competing vehicles that are very, very similar to this car that I'm just not thinking of at all that are also great daily drivers? I'm not sure, and I'd love to hear from you guys. But in my 2 years of ownership of this Mark 7 GTI, I can safely say, now especially, that this has been my favorite car to daily drive. Now, am I saying this is the fastest car that I've had or the most enjoyable car to drive that I've had? No, I'm not saying that. But when you look at daily drivers and you've kind of got to make compromises of what you want and what you don't want, I really think that this Mark 7 GTI hits the nail on the head and gets right into those sweet spots that are important to me for a daily driver. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you've got any comments or anything, any concerns, drop them down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because we've got a ton of content coming out this month, and I can't wait to show you guys. It's Mike from the Focus Garage signing off, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.